How did one harmless flirt turn into a moment where a clerk handed me papers in a public lobby while people watched? Why did my husband stay calm, say nothing, and still make sure the result hit me in daylight? Can I keep calling him the villain when the proof is read out loud and nobody laughs anymore? My name is Evadna Lark, but everyone calls me Eva because it sounds easy and bright. I worked as a scheduling coordinator at a small clinic. My job was normal. Phones, calendars, patient lists, small complaints, and smiling even when I felt bored. I used to think my life was bigger than that. I used to think I deserved more than quiet days and the same man across the kitchen table. Grant was my husband. He was 36 and he worked as a building inspector for the city. He woke up early, he made coffee the same way, and he locked the door twice without thinking. He did not like drama. He did not like public jokes about him. I told myself that was his weakness. I told myself I was only trying to help him grow. That morning, he stood by the sink and rinsed his mug. I asked why he looked so tired. He said he had an early site visit and a long report. I said he always had a report, like a shield. He asked what I meant. I said nothing, and I smiled like it was a small joke. He looked at my phone on the counter. A message preview lit up for a second. It was Caleb Mercer. Caleb was Grant's best friend. He was our friend too. He filmed events, weddings, small business ads. He always had a camera and always had a compliment ready. The message said he liked my new hair. It was a tiny thing, but it warmed me in the middle of an ordinary morning. Grant asked who was texting. I said it was work. He asked why work texted so early. I said the clinic never slept. I kept my tone light, like he was silly for asking. He nodded, but his eyes stayed on my face longer than usual. I should have felt guilty. I did not. I felt watched, and I hated feeling watched. I told myself he had no right to check me. I told myself he was becoming controlling. I also told myself that if he was controlling, then anything I did was a kind of self-defense. That story sounded clean in my head. At the clinic, the air smelled like sanitizer and cheap coffee. Tanya and Maris were already at the break table. Tanya asked if I had fun last weekend. Maris asked if Grant was still being serious Grant. I laughed and said he was the same. I said he acted like a dad even when he was just sitting. They laughed because it was an easy group joke. It made me feel like the leader in the room. Maris asked if I ever missed dating. I said marriage was fine, but it could be boring. Tanya asked if Grant ever tried to be romantic. I said he was romantic in his own way, but he made everything feel like a checklist. I said he cleaned gutters like it was love. They laughed again. I felt my cheeks get warm, but it was not shame. It was pride. I liked the sound of people agreeing with me. During lunch, I checked my phone under the table. Caleb had sent another message. He said he could totally see me in a brighter job, something public. He said I had presence. I wrote back that he was sweet. I added a small joke about him always noticing details. He answered fast. That speed made me feel chosen. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself flirting was not cheating if it was only words. I also told myself Grant had made me need this. He was so quiet lately. He listened, but he did not chase. He cared, but he did not praise. I wanted praise like air. After work, I drove home and rehearsed my face in the rearview mirror. I planned to act normal. I planned to keep my story simple. At the same time, I pictured a scene where Grant finally got jealous. I imagined him asking me to stop talking to Caleb. I imagined myself saying I was not his property. In my head, I always won. At home, Grant was at the kitchen table with his laptop open. A simple spreadsheet grid was on the screen. No title, just rows and columns. He did not hide it when I walked in. He asked how my day was. I said it was busy, and I acted tired so he would not ask questions. He said he could make dinner. I said I could do it because I liked to look like the good wife when I wanted. While I cooked, he stayed quiet. That quiet felt like an insult. I asked if something was wrong. He said no, and he asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. I added that work had been stressful and I needed support, not suspicion. He asked what I meant by suspicion. I said he had been acting strange. I said he watched me like I was guilty. I said it softly, like I was hurt. That was my best voice. He asked if I was hiding something. I laughed and said he was being dramatic. He said he was not trying to fight. He said he just wanted to understand why I seemed far away. I told him he pushed me away first. I said he turned our life into a routine. I said a woman could only smile at a wall for so long. He looked down at his mug. There were 2 mugs on the counter, not touching. I noticed and felt annoyed, like even the mugs were judging me. He asked if we could talk after dinner. I said we could talk, but I warned him not to accuse me again. He said he was not accusing. He said he was asking. My sister Noelle called while we ate. I put her on speaker because I liked an audience. Noelle asked how things were at home. I said Grant was being sensitive again. Grant asked why I told her that. I said I was just talking to my sister. Noelle said Grant needed thicker skin. Grant said he did not want to be discussed like a problem. I said he was making it a bigger deal than it was. After the call, Grant rinsed his plate and walked toward the hallway. I asked where he was going. He said he had something to finish, and he would be in the office for a bit. I said, fine, but my chest tightened. I did not like him leaving the room first. That was usually my move. Later, I scrolled through my phone in bed. Caleb's last message was still there, bright on the screen. He asked if I was coming to the bar on Friday. He said Grant would probably come too, and he added a laughing emoji. I stared at the message and felt a sharp, pleased thought. Maybe I should flirt where Grant can see. Maybe I should remind him what he has. Maybe I should remind myself too. In the dark, I heard a small click from the hallway, like a drawer closing. Grant's office door shut softly. I told myself he was just working. I told myself everything was under control. Then I typed back to Caleb that Friday sounded fun, and I added that I wanted to feel alive again. Friday came fast. I planned my outfit like it was a small campaign. I told myself I was not trying too hard. I said I just wanted to look nice. I also told myself that if Grant noticed, it would be good for him. In my head, I was teaching him a lesson. Grant picked me up after work because his car was already running. He said the bar was only 10 minutes away. I said we did not need to go, like I was above it. He asked if I wanted to stay home instead. I said no, because I did not like him offering me an easy exit. I wanted the scene. When we arrived, the sports bar patio was loud. There were heat lamps and cheap music. The tables were packed and people were standing close. Maris waved at me first. Tanya waved too. Caleb was with them, leaning back like the place belonged to him. He smiled when he saw me, and it was a bright smile, the kind that makes people look. Grant said hello to everyone. He sounded polite and normal. I noticed he did not hug Caleb like usual. Caleb still hugged him anyway, like it was a performance. I watched their faces, and I felt a small thrill because I had a secret line to both of them. It made me feel important. We sat outside. Grant took the chair at the edge of the table. I took the chair closer to Caleb. It looked natural. I told myself it was an accident. Caleb asked how my week was. I said it was stressful and I was tired of being treated like I was not special. I said it in a way that sounded like a joke. Maris laughed. Tanya smiled and looked away. Caleb said I always had a spark, even when I complained. I said he was being sweet. Grant asked what we were talking about. I said it was nothing, just work drama. Grant nodded and looked toward the TV screens. I ordered a drink. Grant ordered water. Maris made a face and asked why Grant was always so serious. Grant said he had an early inspection the next day. Maris said he always had an excuse. I laughed and said that was Grant's brand. Grant asked me not to call him a brand. I said I was kidding, and I touched his arm for 1 second like I was the good wife. Caleb started telling a story about a wedding he filmed. He said the bride cried and the groom fainted. Everyone laughed. I leaned in and asked him if he liked filming love stories. He said he liked filming people when they were real. I asked what real meant. He said it meant when they stopped pretending. His eyes stayed on me when he said it. I felt a heat in my face. Grant looked at me then. He asked if I was cold because of the wind. I said I was fine. He asked if I wanted to switch seats away from the draft. I said no, and I laughed like he was being overprotective. Maris said Grant was acting like my dad again. I smiled because the table liked that line. Caleb asked if Grant ever got jealous. Grant said he did not see a reason to be jealous. Caleb said that sounded like confidence. I said it sounded like he did not care. I said it softly, but I knew Grant heard it. Grant asked why I said that. I said I was teasing. I told him he always took things too seriously. I kept talking to Caleb. I asked him about his gym routine and his new camera. I asked him if he got attention when he worked events. He said he did, but he did not chase it. I said I chased it because attention kept me alive. Maris clapped like I had said something deep. Tanya gave me a look like she was unsure. At one point, Caleb showed me pictures on his phone. I leaned closer to see the screen. My shoulder touched his shoulder. It was small, but it was enough. I could feel Grant watching. I did not look at him. I let the moment stay. I told myself I deserved to be admired. I told myself Grant should finally remember that other men could want me. Grant asked if I wanted to order food. I said no because I did not want him to take control of the table. Caleb asked if I ate enough today. I said I did, and I laughed. I asked Caleb if he was always this caring. He said he noticed people. He said most husbands stopped noticing after a while. I said some husbands stopped before they even started. Grant put his glass down carefully. He asked me if I could talk to him for a minute. I asked why, right now, in front of everyone. He said he did not want to embarrass me. He just wanted a quick word. I said he was the one embarrassing me by acting tense. Maris said Grant needed to relax. Grant said he was relaxed. He asked again, calm. I stood up anyway because I did not want him to look like the mature one. We walked a few steps away, still on the patio. He asked why I was being so close to Caleb. I said I was not close, I was just talking. He said it did not look like just talking. I asked if he was accusing me of cheating. He said he was not accusing. He was asking for respect. I told him he was making it about himself again. I said he never cared when I felt invisible. He asked when he made me invisible. I said when he came home tired and silent, when he chose his laptop over my face, when he acted like my needs were too much. He said he was trying to provide for us. I said providing was not loving. He asked if we could leave early. I said no. I said if he left, he would look jealous, and everyone would know. He said he did not care what everyone thought. I said that was easy for him to say, because nobody judged him like they judged me. He stared at me and said he was not trying to control me. He said he was trying to protect our marriage. I went back to the table first. I smiled too wide. I told everyone Grant was just tired. Maris rolled her eyes and said, husbands always got weird when they saw their wife having fun. Caleb asked if Grant was okay. I said he was fine, and I sat even closer to Caleb to prove my point. I laughed louder than before. I touched Caleb's forearm when I made a joke. I watched Grant from the corner of my eye. He did not explode. He did not shout. He did not beg. He just sat there with his shoulders tight and his mouth flat. That calm made me angry because it did not give me a clear enemy. When it was time to go, Grant stood up and said goodbye. He thanked everyone for the night. He sounded like he was leaving a work meeting. Caleb said we should do it again soon. I said yes, and I smiled at Caleb a little longer than needed. In the car, Grant drove with both hands on the wheel. He asked why I kept doing that. I asked what he meant. He said I knew what he meant. I said he was being insecure. He said he was being honest. He said it hurt to watch me flirt with his best friend. I laughed once and then stopped. I told him he was overreacting. I said if he had more confidence, he would not feel threatened. He asked if I even respected him. I said respect had to be earned, and lately he had not earned much. He went quiet. The streetlights passed over his face like slow flashes. I wanted him to say something sharp. I wanted him to show anger so I could call him cruel. Instead, he asked, calm, if I would stop texting Caleb. I said I would text whoever I wanted. He nodded once, like he was saving the sound of my words for later. When we got home, he parked and sat still for a moment. He said he wanted a serious talk tomorrow. I said we could talk, but I would not be blamed. He said he was not blaming, he was deciding what he could live with. I said he was being dramatic again. Inside, he walked straight to the hallway. His phone buzzed once. He looked at it, and then turned it face down. I pretended not to notice, but I did. In the kitchen, his screen lit up again for a second. I saw a calendar alert with plain text and a time. It said, meeting, personal. It made my throat feel tight, even though I told myself I did not care. Saturday felt like a stage, even before I left the house. Grant moved around quietly, like he was trying not to touch anything. He made pancakes for Maya and cut them into small squares. He asked Maya if she wanted strawberries. She said yes. I watched him do it and told myself he was acting nice on purpose, like a show for me. I asked him if he was still upset about last night. He said he was not upset, he was thinking. I said thinking was just a softer way to punish me. He asked why everything had to be a fight. I said it did not, but he made it one with his moods. We were invited to a backyard cookout at Jared and Lila's place, friends from Grant's side. I liked their house because it looked expensive without trying. I also liked the crowd because it came with witnesses. If I could make Grant look bad in front of people, then I would feel less guilty at home. On the drive there, Grant asked if we could agree to be respectful. I asked what he meant by respectful. He said he meant no jokes at his expense, no flirting games, and no turning people into a jury. I said he was being dramatic again. I said it was just a cookout, not a courtroom. He did not answer, and that silence felt like a challenge. When we arrived, the yard was full. There were kids running, a grill smoking, and music playing from a speaker. People had cups in their hands and easy smiles. Caleb was there already, standing near the cooler like he belonged to the center of the frame. He waved at Grant first, but his eyes flicked to me right after, quick and bright. I walked over with Maya. Caleb said Maya had gotten tall. Maya smiled because Caleb always knew how to talk to kids. Grant stayed a step behind us, like he was choosing distance. I told myself he was sulking. I told myself he wanted people to notice his pain. Maris and Tanya came too, even though it was not really their group. Maris said she came for the fun, and she lifted her phone like it was part of her hand. Tanya asked if Grant was feeling better today. Grant said he was fine. I heard the way he said it, calm and clipped, like he was holding something back. I made sure to laugh a lot. I made sure to touch Caleb's arm when I spoke, like it was normal. I asked him about his next filming job. He said he had a community gala next week, and he might need an extra helper. I said I could help because I was good with people. Grant asked what kind of helper. I said it was nothing serious, just carrying things. Grant looked at Caleb and asked if that was true. Caleb said it was just a thought. Maris leaned close and said it was cute how Grant got protective. I said Grant did not get protective. He got controlling. I said it like a joke, but I wanted it to land. A few people laughed, the kind of laugh that is not fully kind. Grant heard it. He looked away toward the kids. Later, everyone gathered near the long table. Jared lifted his cup and asked for a toast to friendship. People cheered. Someone started filming, and then more phones rose up like a line of small windows. I saw Maris angle her camera toward me. I stood closer to Caleb on purpose. I wanted it in the frame. Jared said something about loyalty and having each other's backs. People clapped. Caleb lifted his cup and glanced at Grant, like a small test. Grant lifted his cup too, but he did not smile. I felt annoyed because he refused to play his role. I wanted him angry. I wanted him loud. I wanted him to give me a reason. When the toast ended, Maris asked Caleb to show everyone a funny clip from a wedding. Caleb pulled out his phone and played it. People laughed. I leaned in to see better. I felt Grant watching again. I did not move away. Instead, I said, Caleb always made everything look good, even people who did not deserve it. Caleb asked what I meant. I said some men got lazy and expected their wives to stay impressed forever. Grant asked me to stop. He said it quietly, but it cut through the noise because he rarely asked for anything in public. I turned to him and asked why he was trying to control what I said. He said he was trying to keep it respectful. I said respect was earned, and he had been acting cold for months. I could see a few faces shift toward us, ready for the show. Lila asked if everything was okay. I said everything was fine, and that Grant just got sensitive. Grant said he was not sensitive, he was hurt. I laughed once and asked if he was really going to do this here. He said he was not doing anything. He was asking me to stop humiliating him. I told him he was humiliating himself by being jealous. I said he should be proud his wife still got attention. I said it like confidence. Inside, it was more like hunger. I needed the group to agree with me, because if they did, then my choices would feel clean. Grant looked at Maya, who was holding a paper plate with a cookie on it. He asked Maya if she wanted to go home soon. Maya asked why. He said he had to finish a report. Maya said okay, but her voice sounded small. I felt a quick sting, like guilt trying to get in. I pushed it away and told myself kids were fine if adults were honest. Grant told me he was taking Maya home. He asked if I was coming. I said no, because I was not going to be dragged away like a child. He nodded once. He told me to let him know when I needed a ride. I said I would manage. He left without slamming anything. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He just walked to the car with Maya and drove away. That calm exit made the yard feel strange for a moment, like the music got quieter. Then Maris laughed too loud and said Grant was doing his dramatic thing again. I said he always tried to make me look bad, even when he was the one acting weird. After he left, Caleb stayed close to me. He asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and that Grant was just insecure. Caleb said Grant was his friend and he did not want trouble. I said there was no trouble, only truth. I said some men could not handle a strong woman. Maris posted a short clip later. I saw her screen for a second. The clip showed me smiling and leaning close to Caleb. It showed Grant at the edge, quiet, not laughing. The caption made it sound like Grant was angry and controlling. I told myself it was good, because now people would understand me. That night, when I got home, the guest bed looked slightly disturbed, like someone had sat on it and then changed their mind. Grant was in the kitchen packing Maya's lunch for Monday. He asked what time I got in. I said not late. He asked if I knew the cookout videos were already online. I said they were just jokes. He said jokes did not erase patterns. His phone made a soft beep on the counter, like a recording app starting or stopping. He flipped it over, calm and fast. I asked what that was. He said it was nothing and asked if I was ready to be honest. I said I had nothing to confess. On Monday morning at school pickup, a parent I barely knew smiled at me like she had a secret. She asked if things were okay at home. I asked why she said that. She said she saw a funny clip and hoped I was doing well. I smiled back and said Grant was just stressed. Inside, my stomach tightened, because the crowd had followed me into daylight. The clinic felt different after the cookout clip spread. People did not say much to my face, but I could feel the small changes. Eyes stayed on me for a second longer. Smiles looked practiced. Even the front desk phone seemed louder, like it wanted to announce my name. Tanya asked if everything was okay at home. I said everything was fine and that Grant was just stressed. She said she saw the video and it looked awkward. I said Grant made things awkward on purpose because he hated when I had fun. Tanya did not argue, but she did not laugh either. That bothered me. At lunch, Maris showed me the comments. She said people were on my side. She said the clip made Grant look controlling. I said good, because maybe he would finally see what it felt like to be judged. In my head, I was still the one in control, like I could steer the story by pushing it harder. A few hours later, my manager asked me for a quick word in the hallway near HR. She asked if the video was about me. I said it was just a joke with friends. She asked if there was any conflict spilling into work. I said no, and I smiled like it was silly to ask. She reminded me about professionalism and social media. I said I understood. I walked back to my desk with my face hot, telling myself it was unfair. When I got home that day, Grant was already there. He was not on the couch. He was not in the kitchen. He was in the small office room with the door half closed. I heard a faint toner smell, like the printer had been used. It made me think of forms and boring adult stuff. I did not like that feeling, like something was moving without me. He came out and asked how my day was. I said work was annoying and people were being weird. He asked why they were being weird. I said they had nothing better to do. He asked if it was because of the video. I said yes, and I said it proved my point that he embarrassed me. He asked how he embarrassed me when he did not post anything. I said his energy was the embarrassment. I said he always acted like a victim. Grant asked if we could stop talking about energy and talk about facts. He asked if I had been meeting Caleb alone. I laughed and asked why he kept using that word, meeting. I said Caleb was a friend. Grant said Caleb was his friend first, and that made it worse. I said that was childish. I asked if he owned people. He did not raise his voice. He said he wanted to protect peace for Maya. He said, Maya asked why Dad left the cookout early. I said Maya was fine and she forgot already. He said she did not forget. He said she asked why people laughed when Mum talked about Dad. I felt a sting, but I turned it into anger fast. I said he was putting adult feelings into a child's mouth. I said he was trying to make me feel guilty. That night, I opened my phone and sent a message to Caleb. I told him the video was funny and that people were too serious. He wrote back that it was getting messy. He said Grant looked done. I asked what he meant. Caleb said Grant was not acting like himself. I said Grant always acted like that at home, so he would not know. Caleb said he did not want to be in the middle. I told him he was not in the middle unless he chose to be. The next day, Grant did not text me much. He normally sent at least one message about the weather or a small joke. Now there was nothing. I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself that meant he was the bad one. After work, I went to the supermarket to pick up a few things. Maya wanted cereal with the cartoon tiger. I added snacks, a scented candle, and a small bottle of face serum. At self-checkout, I tapped our joint card like I always did. The screen beeped and showed declined. I tapped again, slower. It declined again. A worker walked by and asked if I needed help. I said no and forced a laugh. My face burned. I used my own card and paid fast. In the car, I called Grant right away. He did not answer. I called again. Still nothing. When I got home, Grant was on the floor with Maya, building something with blocks. Maya smiled when she saw the cereal box. Grant thanked me for shopping. I asked him why the card declined. He stood up and said we needed to talk about money. I said we had money. He said we had money, but we also had responsibility. I asked if he froze the card to control me. He said no, and he said he set a spending limit on the joint card for now. He said it was temporary. I told him that was control. He asked what I bought. I said groceries. He asked if it was only groceries. I said yes, because I did not want to admit the extra items. He said he saw the account activity, and it was not only groceries. I asked how he saw it so fast. He said alerts came to his phone too. I told him he was tracking me. He said it was a joint account and a shared alert. He said if I felt watched, we could separate finances calmly. I said he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening, he was planning. Noelle called later and asked why I sounded upset. I told her Grant was controlling money now. She said he was trying to trap me. She told me to come to the salon after work the next day. She said we would talk. At the salon back room, Noelle made me coffee and closed the door. She asked if I wanted to win. I said I did not need to win, I needed respect. She said respect came from power. She told me to show Grant that other men wanted me. She told me to post something fun and let him sit with it. I said I already did that. And it worked. She said it was only the start. Maris joined us and said she had more clips from the cookout. She said she could edit them to make Grant look worse. I felt a rush, like I was being supported. I said yes, and I said people needed to see who he really was. Noelle asked if I was scared of him. I paused, because the truth was no. He had never hit me. He had never threatened me. He followed rules even when he was hurt. So I said I was scared of his coldness. I said coldness was its own kind of harm. Noelle nodded like that made sense. That night at home, Grant was quiet again. I went into the office doorway without knocking. He had a few folders on the desk, labeled in simple marker. Utilities, bank, household. He clicked a locked drawer shut when he saw me. He asked what I needed. I said I needed the truth. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. He said it helped him think. I said he was hiding things. He said he was allowed to have privacy. I laughed and said privacy was rich coming from him, the man who watched my phone. He looked at me and said he had not touched my phone once. On his laptop, a few tabs were open. I saw words like storage options, delivery tracking, and notary near me. I felt my throat tighten again. I asked why he was looking at those things. He said he was handling life. He said adults handled life before it handled them. I walked away and tried to act like it meant nothing. Later, when the house was quiet, I heard the printer start and stop, like it spit a page and then pulled back. Then I heard a low hum, like a shredder or a device chewing paper. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, telling myself he was just being dramatic. But in the dark, my phone lit up with a new message from Caleb. He said we needed to be careful because Grant was too calm. I stared at that line for a long time, and I hated how it made me feel small. By the time Thursday came, I felt like I was living inside a test I did not agree to take. Grant did not chase me. He did not argue the way he used to. He moved around me like I was furniture he could not throw out yet. That calm made my skin itch. I wanted him to snap. I wanted proof that he was the bad man I kept describing. At work, I checked my phone too often. Caleb's messages were shorter now. He used fewer emojis. He asked if Grant had said anything to him. I told Caleb that Grant was being cold and weird. Caleb said he did not want to lose his friend. I said that was unfair because I was the one being judged. He said he was just trying to stay out of it. I told him staying out of it was still choosing Grant. That night, I decided I needed a stronger move. I told myself it was not revenge. I told myself it was a reality check for Grant. I told myself I was allowed to feel wanted. In my head, I was still the person with options. I kept repeating that, like a prayer. On Friday after work, I went to the gym. I did not even like the gym that much. I liked the lobby. I liked the glass doors, the clean lights, and the chance of accidental meetings. Caleb sometimes came there because he filmed short fitness clips for a trainer. I knew the schedule because Maris had told me. I walked in slow, like I had nowhere else to be. I held my phone like a prop. I pretended to look for my membership barcode, but I was really scanning the room. Then I saw Caleb near the front desk talking to a trainer. He noticed me and smiled, but his smile was tight. He asked what I was doing there. I said I needed a change, and I was tired of feeling invisible. He said he understood, but he looked around like he wanted walls to protect him. I asked if he wanted to grab a drink later, just as friends. He hesitated. He said he was busy. I said he was always busy when it mattered. I leaned closer and lowered my voice. I said Grant had been distant for weeks and it hurt. I said I needed someone who noticed me. Caleb said he noticed me, but he did not want trouble. I asked if he was scared of Grant. Caleb said no, and he said it was not about fear. He said it was about right and wrong. That word annoyed me. I told Caleb he was acting like a judge. I said nobody understood what it was like to be married to a man who made you feel small. Caleb said Grant never made him feel small. Caleb said Grant was a good friend. I said being a good friend was easy. Being a good husband was harder. I left the gym without working out. I sat in my car in the parking lot and stared at the steering wheel. I felt angry at Caleb for not giving me the simple validation I wanted. I felt angry at Grant for not begging me to stop. I felt angry at myself for not feeling fully in control anymore. Then I did what I always did when I felt weak. I made a new plan to look strong. That weekend, there was a community fundraiser at the event hall downtown. Maris was helping with photos and said it would be crowded. She said Caleb might be there, filming highlights. She also said Grant sometimes inspected the building next door and might pass by. It sounded perfect, like fate doing my work. I told Grant I was going to the fundraiser with Maris and Tanya. He asked if Maya was coming. I said no, she was staying home because it was boring. Grant said he would stay with Maya. He asked what time I would be back. I said I did not know. He asked why I did not know. I said because I was not a child with a curfew. He did not argue. He just nodded and asked me to text if plans changed. His calm made me want to throw something. Instead, I smiled and said he was finally learning. He looked at me and said he was learning, yes, but not what I thought. At the event hall, the room was loud with talking and clinking cups. There were banners, donation boxes, and a small stage. People were dressed nicer than usual, like they wanted to be seen. Maris immediately lifted her phone and started recording short clips. Tanya asked if we could just enjoy the night without drama. I said we were enjoying it. Caleb was there near the stage, camera rig on his shoulder. When he saw me, he gave a quick nod instead of a big smile. I walked over anyway, like I owned the space. I asked how filming was going. He said it was fine. I asked if he wanted to get a shot with me for fun. He said he had to keep it professional. Maris came up behind me and said we should all take a photo together. Caleb said he was busy. Maris said he could spare 10 seconds. Caleb finally agreed, but he stood with space between us. I stepped closer anyway, and Maris snapped the picture at the exact moment I leaned in. I saw a few people watching. One woman smiled like she recognized me from the cookout clip. I smiled back, because I thought attention still meant power. I did not realize attention could turn into a net. Later, I went outside to the side entrance to get air. I checked my phone and saw 3 missed calls from Grant. My first thought was not worry. My first thought was that he was trying to control me. I texted him that I was busy and I would be home when I was home. When I walked back in, I saw Grant near the far wall, not inside the main crowd, but close enough to see. He was not dressed for a party. He looked like he had come from somewhere else. He was holding Maya's light jacket in his hand, like they had been out and stopped here for a second. Maya was not with him. That made my stomach drop. I walked toward him fast. I asked why he was here. He asked me to step aside to a quiet corner. I said no, because I did not want him to speak like the calm adult again. I asked where Maya was. He said she was with his parents for the night. He said she had asked to sleep there because she liked it when it was quiet. That line hit me harder than I expected. I told myself he planted it in her head. I told myself he was turning her against me. Grant said he was not turning anyone. He said he was reducing damage. I said he was being dramatic and making a scene. He looked around at the room and said I was the one who brought scenes into public. He asked if I had been meeting Caleb alone. I said no. I said Caleb was just filming, and people were making stories. Grant said stories were not his focus anymore. He said facts were. I tried to laugh. I said he was acting like a lawyer. He said he was acting like a father and a homeowner and a person who had limits. I asked if he was threatening me. He said no. He said he was done arguing. I told him he was cold, and cold was a kind of cruelty. He said he had tried warmth for years and it had been used against him. He said he would handle it properly. He said that word like a door closing, calm and final. A clerk in the office tower lobby said my name and handed me the packet. Grant stood back, calm, with Ruth beside him. The papers set temporary custody times and spending limits, starting today.